Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, my friends. In today's video, we're talking about Mileena, and this is the starter guide for Mileena in Mortal Kombat 1. So in this video, I'm going to be going over everything about what the character is about, what you should be looking for, what they are capable of, some example combos to get you started, and also some example character cameo synergies, showcasing who Mileena plays very well with. So that said, now let's talk about Mileena, and let's talk about a bit of an overview of her game plan. So Mileena, what are her pros and cons? Well, one, she has a very strong anti-fireball game with her ability to traverse the screen at basically any given moment. Her solo combo damage is actually among the highest in the game, and very few characters can match her solo damage output. She does not need cameos to get extra damage, and that's fantastic. And her meterless damage is also among the best in the game. So Mileena hits very hard. And frankly, even though it's not necessarily good gameplay, Mileena has one of the best random factors in the game. Random teleports, random ball rolls. If you just kind of want to swing for the fences, Mileena is fantastic at it. Now on the downsides, Mileena has very poor screen presence. She's good at reacting to what the opponent might do at a full screen, but she's very poor at imposing her own will, as she has nothing that actually travels full screen. She has to be mid-screen or closer for her moves to start mattering. And when it comes to buttons, her longer range options are slower than a lot of the cast, and have some key weaknesses like say forward 2 is a high instead of a mid. So effectively, Mileena is not really good at most ranges except for directly in front of the enemy and going attack, attack, attack. So now that you know, let's go over her notable normals. Now, notable normals, one of the things to talk out of the gate here will be standing 1-2. So standing 1-2 by itself is a 3-hit combo, and very importantly, even though the first hit is indeed a high, and naturally, you can duck under a high, the second hit is an overhead, and it comes out very quickly. So even if you whiff the first hit, it is still a very real possibility that you'll get the second hit and can combo from it. It is one of the 2 strings that goes into her EX up teleport, where she gets her maximum damage, that and standing 2-1. It is safe on block with good pushback for what it is, -5 on block. And also speaking on block, it does have a canned follow-up. So it has an overhead hit throw. So if you are for whatever reason crouch blocking, this will hit you, and the pushback of it is also safe on block. You're only -2 and it creates a good amount of distance between the 2 characters. And of course, naturally, if it connects, well, she'll be stabbing you something fierce, so it works out great. It does have one weakness, in the final blow of the move is flawless blockable and changes the frame data, making it punishable, so you do have to watch out. But other than that, it is one of her biggest workhorse normals. Speed, quick overhead, multiple options, multiple follow-ups, general safety on block, it does a lot. Next notable string, forward 1-4-4. So this is notable here, forward 1 is her only effective real mid. So it is 13 frames, which isn't the fastest mid, but it's not the slowest either. So if people are just crouch ducking a lot and against her, stand 1, stand 2, they will crouch duck a lot. This is one of your go-to moves here. To note, it's also safe on block, so that's great. And just outside of throw range, so you don't have to worry about that after it's blocked. And if you catch people with it, it'll easily go into roll and all the various roll combos. It is not a natural combo into EX up teleport though, so you'll have to settle for the roll. But still, it is their only effective real mid to work with, so this will be a workhorse of a move for you. Next is forward 4. So forward 4 is a double hitting overhead. It is fairly fast for what it is at 19 frames. So you will catch a lot of people asleep at the wheel with this overhead, and it does a lot of damage. It does over 11% damage. That is substantial for considering what the move is. The move is mostly safe on block. Only a very few key characters in the game can actually punish it. Most of the cast, though, cannot touch it. And one of the best things about it is it gives an extended knockdown. So you'll be ending a lot of your combos with this move, and when you do, you'll be very close to them, directly on top of them while they're waking up, and you can set up all sorts of things, as we'll go into later in the cameo section. As a general use overhead, it is absolutely one of the better ones in the game. Next up is the forward 2 series. So forward 2 is her advancing high. It is her longest range regular move. It is not as long as some other characters, but with Mileena, you do have to take what you get. She is designed to be very much in front of people, so having any kind of ranged option, even if it's not the longest, is very helpful. So it has a couple follow-ups here. So we have forward 2-4, and 4-2-4 is a high into a low, so they must immediately crouch block the second hit. And what's very handy, it is neutral on block. So while They block it. If you both block at the same time, you're exactly even. So you can both spam whatever you want to do. But you do have 2 canned follow-ups. So 4-2-4 also has 4-2-4-2. And 4-2-4-2 is a mid-stab. So they still have to keep blocking, no neutral ducking. And this is very slightly advantage on block. So if you both go into poke wars after the fact, Mileena will always win that poke war. And we also have 4-2-4-3-3. So that is a double hitting low. And if unblocked, will leave the enemy directly beside you, so you can follow pressure. Versus, say, the plus unblock mid, which will knock them very far away. Now, specifically, if you're looking for combos, 4-2-4 is where you'll combo from. So after the sweep, if you see the sweep, then you can go directly into your roll and directly go into combos. And our final notable normal is down 1. So I know it's the poke, and everyone loves poking, right? So what exactly makes her different than everyone else? Well, she has more effective range in like just about the whole entirety of the cast. She can down 1 you from distances that other characters simply cannot poke back from. And that is very much to her advantage. So if you're looking for poke wars in situations where you may be pushed out, like say after blocking 1-2, notice the distance between 2 characters. Mileena, she can poke back just fine. Katana, however, she can't reach. So Mileena has a spacing advantage over people in this way. Her range may not be exceptional in a lot of ways, but for the poke war, she will outrange pretty much the entire cast. So her down 1 is just a little bit better than most. It's also a little bit more negative than most, but you take the good with the bad. Now, going into her special moveset, Mileena retains her side tosses. So it's back forward 1 and back forward 3. So one is a high toss, and the other one is a low toss. So that one must be crouch blocked specifically. Now, the thing about this in this game is they just don't go full screen. So Mileena, not only can she not win a fireball war, as it were, she can't even compete in a fireball war. These are effectively, think these as your mid-range pokes. So her actual physical pokes may not be that good. 4-2 is the best we're getting, and it's not as good as other characters. But consider these your actual pokes in return. So many characters are a little bit less inclined to throw fireballs at these ranges. And Mileena, well, this is your only option, so you kind of have to go with it. Now to note, low-sci will indeed go under high. So if you're looking to counter poke people back, this is an exceptionally really good way to do it. Also, the low fireball just simply travels faster than the high fireball. So if you're in situations where you're just looking for speed, in most situations, low sci is just kind of generally better than high sci. Although high sci, if you anticipate people jumping out, since this is a much higher angle, it does cover that upper portion and will stop people trying to jump out in a way that low sci will not. Now, EX low sci does go full screen, so that is handy. So this is your only proper full screen projectile. It does take a bar, which sucks, but at least it gives you an option you don't otherwise have. It does do 9%, which is respectable, and also is a low, once again, still, so you must crouch block, and it does knock down, so you can kind of follow up after the fact. Now, EX high sci is very different, as it's a 2-bar move instead of a 1-bar move. You can consider this almost like her super move in a way. So what's different besides the fact that it takes 2 bars is she will teleport to the enemy and attack them. So you'll get extra damage out of the gate, and it causes a crumple state. This means when the enemy crumples, you actually get a full combo. So this makes this actually quite devastating to get hit by. This is not nothing. You can get over 30% easily. And also, it does destroy all other projectiles. So if you know that they know your range game is somewhat deficient, and they're tossing fireballs and saying, you know, what are you going to do about it? This is a hard call out. It will destroy whatever fireball they toss. And once again, you'll get the hit, you'll get the crumple, you'll get the combo, and just all sorts of good stuff. So very expensive, but very powerful. Now the teleport series. So we have teleport down. This is the classic Mileena teleport, and you can do it in the air. And like many other games, it's basically the counter fireball move. If I just see you throw a fireball, I'm going to teleport through it. Also, in this game specifically, she does take a low stance while doing the startup compared to how it usually is. So she can also low profile moves while doing the startup. And just like anything, oh, I see you throw the fireball, teleport. And if you want to enhance it for a bar, you'll do some more damage and get a long knockdown. Now, up teleport's different. It is a slower startup to the point where certain moves that you can punish with the regular teleport, you cannot punish with the up teleport. Now, honestly, regular up teleport without spending meter is not worth it compared to the down teleport. It is slower, does the same damage. The only upside is it launches, so therefore it has some Kameo synergy. Naturally, it depends on your team. It depends on your Kameo, right? But if you're looking for that extra damage, if you have a specific team built up for it, then yes, Up Teleport is worth it, but only if you have that specific team. But what's really worth it is the enhanced Up Teleport. This is where we get our biggest damage. We'll cover it in the combo section, but yeah, all of our big damage combos that are 40+% by yourself, no cameos needed, all come from EX Up Teleport. Keep in mind, not every string does. Your main strings of 1-2 and 2-1 are the ones that'll combo into it. Other strings that are very useful, like forward 1-4-4, they do not naturally combo into it. You have to take other combo routes into, say, like regular ball. You will not get that extra damage. So down teleport is great for counter zoning and being random, and up teleport is really good for combo ability. Now the signature ball roll. This is one of Mileena's main moves, and what's different in this game is she also has an air version now too. But let's talk the classic first. So the classic, it's the combo starter. It works off every single starter you have, and the one thing about it is it gives her very high meterless damage. She has much higher meterless damage than most of the cast. Her general damage across the board is higher than most of the cast. So ball roll is just really good for off any hit. You will always have a conversion no matter what it is. Any hit, you're good to go. And if you're looking to enhance it, it will give you a very damaging knockdown. So she'll pin your feet in and give her new Tarkatan blades a whirl and kick your head in. So now the air version. So you can see here she'll spin in the air and throw out a bunch of sides. As you already seen in the video, this is one of your main combo moves. It's great for juggles. And if you are so inclined, although it's risky, it's not the safest on block. If you do it very low to the ground, you can actually use it to hit enemies. And all the shots are mid, which is, the first one most importantly. They are all mid and they do juggle. So if the enemy is neutral ducking on you, consider this in a weird way like an instant overhead from further range that you can do forward 4 from. And yes, you can self-combo from this as well. So you don't get the most amount of damage, but it is an interesting trick. Also, the enhanced version, because there is an EX. So it is basically ball roll in the air, and I know it doesn't look impressive in and of itself. Think of it almost like Kano, right? So Kano ball, Mileena has Kano ball now, right? So if you're jumping backwards, you catch them whiffing a button, you can immediately go, gotcha. But what's really good about this is after the initial hit, you're allowed to cancel into any other air special move. So if it hits, you can go right into a teleport, or you can go into another air ball, which will toss those sides. So again, in that situation, if you jump back and catch a move, you can actually get decent combo follow-ups. And if you want to be horrifically bar inefficient, then to note, it also cancels into itself. So you can become a pink Sonic the Hedgehog for a while. Now, let me show you some of her bread and butter combos. Let's start with forward 1 first, because it's her fastest mid, and you'll use it to catch a lot of people poking out buttons. It's a very strong bread and butter combo. You'll use it all the time. Has a very powerful knockdown at the end, so you can pressure the enemy after the fact. To note, for all the ball roll combos, you actually will see that you're missing the first Sai. You can, if you delay the jump 2-2, actually get all 3 hits and get very slightly more damage, but there is a timing element to it, and it's literally less than 1% anyways. So don't stress yourself out having to get the absolute optimal version of it. The difference between this version, where you're sloppy, and this version where you do it perfectly and risk dropping the combo, is 0.5%. So I would say don't sweat it, stick to the easy version. Now this is a combo for if you land standing 1-2 or standing 2-1 and you're looking to maximize your damage with EX Up Teleport. So over 40%, that hurts a lot. And once again, you don't even need cameos to extend the damage. So the thing to note about that is after this guy here, you have to dash to get 2-1. So you can pre-buffer the dash in right before you land to get it out first frame. It'll probably be a little tricky for you out of the gate, so practice makes perfect on that. But other than that, it is a go-to B&B. Once you learn the timing, it is not too difficult. And very powerful with, once again, ending with forward 4, which is a very powerful knockdown that lets you pressure the enemy after the fact. So as discussed earlier, any combo that starts with the regular roll will do fantastic damage that is meterless. But if you are looking to spend some bar, you can do so at the end of the combo with the enhanced roll. So the combo will be mostly the same, we'll just change it up just a little bit at the end. So it's only a few percent more, sure, but if you're just looking to dump meter and get maximum amount of damage at the end of a combo that you wouldn't otherwise get, that is an option for you. Or of course, since it is very high damage for a meterless combo thanks to all the ball rolls, that's one of the great aspects of the character, you can save that meter and apply it either for EX moves down the road, or say save it for a combo breaker so you have more effective health. And a final example combo for you is off the EX version of the air roll. Once again, it is a fantastic move for just catching people whiffing buttons while you're already in the air. If you see them whiff anything, you immediately go for it and you can get a combo conversion. So the combo ender that time was a little different. Since we already hit the enemy airborne, that means our gravity scaling is already high to start with more juggles after the ball roll. So we're basically looking for something where we can get a full and complete combo still. Because the usual combo that we've been doing up to this point will not work anymore because of the enhanced scaling. So if you have the enemy and you have a lot of juggle points in, jump 1, 2, 2, teleport will still always work. And finally, let's talk character cameo synergies. So I'll give you a few examples of some characters and some options you'll have with Mileena in Mortal Kombat 1. First off, Kano. So I like Kano a lot for Mileena. One, it helps solve her range deficiency problem, as Kano has a very serviceable full screen projectile. In fact, it's one of the best in the game, all things considered. And his general cameo regeneration speed is actually quite quick, all things considered, from the move. So if you're looking for a quick and dirty projectile full screen, Kano really fits the bill very well. Naturally, he also has the hidden blades, which is good, as it is an ambush call, so it just helps your general neutral. Once again, her neutral is not very strong. Her ability to contest the screen up until she gets about this far away is very poor, so Kano helps out with that a lot. Not the least of which is he's a great gimmick enabler. So if you do the Kano ball, and say we do a teleport right after we call Kano, that's a natural combo, and it makes teleport mostly safe on block. So if you're looking for the gimmicks, Kano actually helps out with that quite a bit too, on top of just actual more solid fundamental neutral. He also helps a lot with set play and mix up after the fact of a lot of your combos. So we showed off forward 4 before, and it has the exceptionally good knockdown, right? So since it has a good knockdown, we can set up call Kano, call our hidden blade, and then force the enemy into a little bit of a mix up. So here, after I knock them down, I'm going to call him, I'm going to dash forward, and then I'm going to make them guess overhead or low. So the overhead connected, and as you can see, that's different. They actually stayed standing. It did do a little bit more damage, which is fine, but it forces them to restand and leaves us at significant frame advantage, so we can dash forward and pressure them, and they just have to deal with it. They have to guess attack, have to guess throw, all that kind of stuff. So it restands the enemy, on top of giving more damage, leads to better offensive flow. Now conversely, we can also go for the low. And the low, we just get a straight up full combo. So overhead gives us a little bit more damage and very strong pressure, and low just gives us a full combo. So let me show you an example sequence here where I'll do a regular B&B combo that does, a good amount of damage, and it'll lead directly into guess overhead or low, and then it'll lead directly into guess overhead or low, and we'll work out the whole sequence as one. So there we go. That whole sequence from the first combo is just about almost death on a full health, regular health character. So we get the good combo. Once again, her damage is exceptional by itself. She doesn't need cameos for combos. So we'll use cameos not for combos, but for setup and pressure. So guess low, guess overhead, guess low wrong, and you take more damage, guess overhead wrong, and then we can dash up and pressure you. So Kano works out pretty good for Mileena. Now, Frost is another very interesting choice for Mileena. One, with her basic Ice Crash call, it does give her a decent mid poke to work with, which she's very sadly lacking in. So quick call, plus on block, good damage, good knockdown as well. So it just gives her a good neutral tool that she simply doesn't have otherwise. Naturally too, as Frost, you can freeze people. So as a full screen projectile, if you do the projectile war thing, if you freeze them, you're definitely going to win. And from which, you just run your way in, get your free combo, that's great. And naturally too, it makes combo ability trivial, right? You just get a hit confirm, go for a freeze, get full combo. So that's very good for everyone and just as good for Mileena. So one of the very interesting things about Frost is her big ice ball that lets everyone be sub-zero for a day. The really bad downside to it though is it takes forever to get going. And there's very few safe ways that you can just toss it in and force the enemy to deal with it. Although thankfully Mileena does have a safe way. So as we've already seen in our combo structure, you're going to be doing a lot of stuff like this, right? So that by itself, if you don't follow up, the enemy is in the air for quite some time and then takes a while to get up. And when you know it, that's enough time to exactly safely set up the Frost Ice Ball. So admittedly, you are sacrificing a little damage. You're not getting everything that you could. You're effectively doing the damage of a normal character's meterless B&B, heaven forfend. But you take that option, and now your pressure is going to be ridiculous for a second, because now that Ice Ball is in play. You don't have to worry about the setup, because the setup is covered by the enemy falling down and getting back up. And once it's in play, world's your oyster. Obviously, the enemy will be quite hesitant to do anything, which means they're probably blocking, which means you can start going for your advancing highs, which is great. Now you don't have to worry about that stuff getting Nutriduct. Or you can play the classic old gimmick of throw the enemy into it. And once they're thrown into it, naturally enough, free full combo. So if they're being overly defensive, you can punish them with your offensive options. You can also throw them the ice ball. And hey, if they want to be offensive, you'll get hit, sure, then they get frozen. So very few characters have a reliable way to set this up. Mileena, for a cost of a few % of damage on a combo, has a reliable way to set this up, which makes Frost a great cameo choice. And our last character I think has some really good synergy is Sektor. So Sektor with the flamethrower gives very good neutral presence. Gives a fairly fast move for what it is in a range that Mileena doesn't have anything to work with, so that's handy. Also gives her a full screen presence. So the teleport punch will track the enemy anywhere on the screen, and even at absolute maximum range, you can convert off it too. So that's not bad. So character with like no full screen options now gets full combo from full screen. That's pretty good. And naturally, Sektor has the missile calls, which is just good for her pressure in general. Even if she has multiple strings that are somewhat negative, once the missile's in play, the enemy will be very heavily discouraged from hitting buttons. Because if they get hit, it counts as a combo starter in and of itself. So it's very scary to deal with the threat of the missile coming. Now, the recharge rate's a little slow, and the tracking sometimes can be a little suspect, but overall, it's a very strong and powerful threat. You can mostly just use it as a sledgehammer, because once it's in play, the enemy has to respect it in a way that just works absolutely to your benefit. So all of Sektor's moves are actually pretty useful for her overall. They give her more presence at the two ranges of the screen she's really bad at, which is mid and far, and they just help her pressure game up close, which is fantastic. And that is the Mileena guide. So this is a more short form guide. Well, short for me anyways. Normally I make like hour-long guides, right? So if you enjoyed the format, please post in the comments below. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't like about this one specifically, because this is a little different than how I usually do it. And otherwise, that's Mileena. So once again, character with very clearly defined weaknesses and strengths. Mileena from here to here really sucks for the most part, other than the odd low side toss. She wants to be in your face. She wants to blender you. She wants to attack, attack, attack. And a lot of her tools aren't even necessarily the best for that. You got to work with her unique strengths, in that she can do the old down one poke game from way further away than pretty much every other character in the game can, which is to her benefit for sure. Her ability to have a very strong overhead that's much stronger than most of the cast, more damage, better knockdown, and the pressure you can get on that knockdown, because once you do it, you have all the time in the world just to walk up and hit other buttons, and the enemy has to groove on it. So her pressure after this is really good. So once she gets that hit, her pressure after whatever combo, and once again, I said it multiple times in the video, her damage is among the highest in the game, so she'll already get the really big hit, and then ending with this bad boy, then you have to deal with a lot of pressure after the fact. That is her strengths. Mileena, pardon the joke about the teeth, I guess, but she's very much like a bulldog. Once she bites on, when she lashes on, it's very difficult for you to get her off. She'll do a lot of damage, set you up, and then keep pressure, and that is the advantage of this character in this game. That all said, that is the end of the video, so thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Mortal Kombat.